All right, so let's talk about your phone approach. Your phone approach is something that you want to kind of memorize because you do it so much. It's repetitive, right? And it's usually just the do you know how to answer the common objections? Because once I go through this phone approach with you, you're going to see, okay, this is not too hard. If we got real serious with it, you could probably learn it like I'm about to say it, right? I kept my phone approach in my leads binder because it was very easy to have there. So I'll show you my leads binder really. This is what you always have, your leads binder and your blue book. And then you have food and you have your knives, right? And get a roll up. I would always ask your manager, hey, can I get a roll up, right? And see if they'll do a competition for you. But this is my leads binder. I always had my leads here. And then in the back, I always had the phone approach and then I had leads over it, right? And so keep your leads binder organized for sure. And if you don't have one, you need to get one. I know you guys like to put it on Excel sheets or Google Sheets, but make sure you put it on paper. And that's usually where you collect them on your demos. When you're in person, you get those demo leads and then you move them to a Google Sheets. This is what builds your business. So make sure you know your leads approach. The key to the phone approach is dropping first names, acting like Sally, who gave you Mrs. Jones, right? So Sally gave you Mrs. Jones. Sally wrote down Mrs. Jones and said, oh, Mrs. Jones would be a great person for you to see. You're calling Mrs. Jones. And I'm going to say, hey, Miss Jones, this is Nick. How are you doing? I'm going to say something along those lines because it makes them feel like we know each other. And when they act like they don't know, I'm be like, oh, Sally just talked you up. So it made me feel like I already knew you, right? You want to act like you already know these people, like you've already had the relationship. So that's why it says there, hey, this is your name, right? So when it says your name, that's your name. So, hey, Miss Jones, this is Nick. Sally told me to give you a call. How are you doing? Super simple. It's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. You want to sound relatable. You want to sound like if you were her friend already calling her, like how you call your friends. Hey, Sally, this is Nick. How are you? Who is this? Oh, this is Nick. Sally told me give you a call, right? Or Mrs. Jones, Sally told me to give you a call, right? I'm going to say, hey, Miss Jones, this is Nick. How are you? Who are you? And I say, oh, this is Nick. I was over at Sally's house the other day competing for a scholarship through work. Did she mention me? Right? I would write that one down. A little different than what's on here, but I was at Sally's house the other day competing for a scholarship through work. Did she mention me? And I would write that down because that's a money line. And she's like, no, she didn't mention you. Oh, well, no worries. I probably beat her to it. Well, the reason I was calling was that Sally said you were super nice and give you a quick call and that you'd be nice enough to help me out with a scholarship competition or your push competition or whatever competition that's actively going on in your office. And I'm currently contending for. How I get credit is I just got to do a quick presentation for you and your spouse and get honest feedback on it. And the great thing is you don't have to buy anything at all. And I was wondering, did you live close to Sally? So I'm dropping these nuggets in there really fast. So I'm kind of getting them to think back to like, oh yeah, I do live close to Sally, right? And so off the cuff, you can see, hey Sally, this is Nick. I was over at Mrs. Jones' house the other day. How are you doing? Right? That's one way to say it. Or I say, hey Sally, this is Nick. How are you doing? Who are you? Oh, I was over at Mrs. Jones' house the other day. Did she tell you I was going to be calling you? Oh my gosh. Okay, I probably just beat her to it. This is Nick. I'm the kid that was over at her house competing for a scholarship through work. No. Oh, yeah. So I'm competing for a scholarship through work. I get credit just to show you this product, and I get paid literally just to show you. And I was wondering if I can go over. Mrs. Jones said you're a really cool lady. Now I was wondering, do you live close to her? Oh no, not really. Oh, okay. Well, where do you live? Oh, you're in the Edinburgh area, the far right. Okay, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna be in that area on Wednesday. Is there any shot I can go over? Well, what's the product? Oh, it's bear traps. There's been a lot of sightings in Mission, Texas. No, I'm just kidding. It's called Cutco. It's like a bunch of kitchen stuff. I'm sure you probably already have a bunch of kitchen stuff. Like I said, I get credit just to go over. So I was wondering, would you be free on Friday or would Saturday be better for you? Getting right back to the point, when can I book it with you, right? And so my whole point here is take your script, learn the basics of, hey, I'm trying to establish who I am. I'm trying to make sure she understands I know I'm calling her because her friend gave me her number. So I was literally in her friend's house the other day and she wants to understand that part. And then she says, all I got to do is do a quick presentation. I get credit just to show it to you. I get paid just to show it to you. You don't have to buy anything, right? So would you be free on Friday or Saturday? Direct to the point. Would you be free Friday or Saturday? Oh, I think Friday I'm going to be Saturday. Okay, Saturday. I can wake up early morning. What do you want to do? Right? I'm always pushing early morning demos, by the way, because it's those morning demos that if someone's willing to wake up early for you, they're probably willing to buy from you too. So it's super important to know your morning demos. My 7 a.m. demos, they like almost always bought. They weren't a majority. There was a minority of 7 a.m. demos because everyone said no, I can't see you at 7 a.m. But the ones who did, they were the ones who always bought something, Like, so my 7 a.m. demos, I always try to fill that slot because it was like 7 a.m. Then I got my 8:30, and then I got my 10:30, and it was like, or my 7:30, my 9:30, and my 11:30, and it was packed, right? Like, I started my day off fast. I was getting 3 demos done before most reps even got to their first demo. And that's how I got ahead. So again, learning your phone approach, not just what you're saying, but how you're saying, right? So take this back, sit with your manager, look at whatever phone approach you want to look at. There's a lot of phone approaches out there. The one I usually did was the one that's, hey, Sally, this is Nick. How you doing? Who is this? Oh, this is Nick. I was over at Lucy's house the other day, competing for a scholarship through work. Did she tell you about me? Oh, she did it. Oh, no problem. Like I said, I was over at Lucy's house the other day. And I was just, showing her all this cool stuff. We were going over the products. I get paid just to show you this product. And I was wondering if I can go over on Saturday or Sunday. I promise you I'll make it fun. And I'm just trying to complete as much as I can to hit my goal. Is there any shot you're free Saturday or Sunday? Oh, well, what are you showing? And then you can do a joke. Oh, bear traps. There's been a lot of grizzly bears in your area. And you say, oh, no, I'm just kidding. It's Cutco. It's like a bunch of kitchen stuff. But I literally get paid just to show it. You might have already seen a Cutco demo. That's totally cool. I can do mine even faster. I just want to do it, make a new friend, and actually get the demo done. Is there any shot I can see you Saturday at 2 o'clock, right? If you already had time kind of picked up. And then the firm up, right? My firm up was always solid. Like once they gave me the directions, because I didn't say, oh, what's your address? And I just left it at that. I said, how do I get there? So they can envision me going to the area. Well, once you're going down this main road, you turn left here, and like they can envision me in their head driving to their house. And I say, okay, awesome. And the address was this. Okay, cool. Just in case the map messes up, I appreciate you teaching me that. One last thing, Mrs. Jones, and then you do whatever joke you want to do. Put a penny in the freezer because I'm going to teach you a cool trick when I get there. And then literally when you get there, like, all right, I got this penny in the freezer. What are you going to do? Oh, I'm glad you did. Hold on, in 10 minutes, I'm going to show you what to do with this thing. And then you'll cut it, right? And then they'll be like, oh, why? Or you can say, put a smiley face on the paper next to my name and number, right? Because I promise you, I'm going to make you smile, right? There's so many jokes. Your managers can tell you the rest. But you want to put some sort of fun joke at the end so they kind of remember you, right? I always gave them my rep number as my confirmation number. I said, please, are you sure this time works? Because, okay, that confirmation number is there because that number lets my manager know that I'm actually doing the demos, and we'll go through the completion. Once I get there, it just gives you a little app, but it lets him know or lets her know that I actually did the demo. So you're sure this time works for you? Okay, thank you so much. I'm gonna win the freaking scholarship because of you. I'm just so happy. All right, thank you so much, Sally. All right, bye. Having fun, the enthusiasm, the energy happens once you really feel confident with your script. If you don't feel confident with your phone approach yet, get with your manager, role play more, get the script down so you know at least the what, and then you can focus on the how you're saying it because it matters. It truly does matter. But if you get your phone approach solid, I'm telling you, it's a game changer. It is a game changer. And then your phone approach usually piggybacks off your leads approach. So if your phone approach is pretty good, your leads approach gets better and better and better because you have a really good relationship already at the get-go over the phone call. You get to the house, now you're cracking jokes. Now you can totally say, hey, there's one more really important part. Hey, as you said earlier, Mr. Jones, I get paid just to show Cutco, but I can only show it to people I've been personally recommended to. So what I need to do while I'm cleaning up, because a lot of stuff got up, is just jot down 100, 150 people. I'm just kidding. 10 to 15 would be fine. They don't have to be people you think would buy, just people nice enough like yourself want to take a look. So here's a pen, here's your paper, right? And you give them all their own sheet. So if you haven't done that, you give them all their own sheet, right? And then they fill it out. And if you can get somebody to fill it out, like that was the key. Like the first demo I got, this lady, the reason she's in the front is because she filled out both sides. And then this one, they filled it out all the way, right? And then this one over here, they filled it all the way. So you're setting the standard, and then you would have a blank one and say, okay, this is yours, right? And then the rest, you just take them out. Like I sucked too at some of my demos. I got one, right? I got 3 or 4, right? Like, but I hide those because I don't want that to be the standard, right? So we all go through highs and lows in this business. It's not like someone comes in, they're always selling a homemaker or a big set and always getting 20 leads. Like it's like a deck of cards. You flip the cards, right? Sometimes you get a 2, sometimes you get a 3, sometimes you get an ace. You just got to keep flipping cards, but it's your consistency, and that's a skill. So even if Cutco's not where you're going to be forever, right? The reality is Cutco's a great stepping stone for your future job because it teaches you those soft skills, those discipline skills. And that's the key to this business is taking advantage of it fully and learning that phone approach, learning that leads a script, like learning it so that you then learn how to do the how with it. How are you saying it? And you get better at this stuff naturally. And the stuff you're learning in Cutco is transferable. I mean, you can take it to any job you do in the future. And that's what's going to be the big win here. It's your experience. It's not so much your money. I know some of you guys are making thousands of dollars a week. That's cool, but the experience is everything.